does the process of writing mean to you? What do you get out of it?
I get transformed into a different universe personally. It takes a little while some days to get to that other place, but what I get out of it is the ability to put myself into another person's shoes, body, mind, emotions, and live through their eyes, even if they're not necessarily a likable character. And when I get out of that space, I feel that it makes me a more compassionate human being, because I am asking questions. Why would they do this? Why do they feel this way? Why are they doing this now? What did this person do to them? Why is this happening like right now? And even good people have flaws. So I think it's important to look at every character, and there are very few people that are just purely sociopathic. A lot of the characters that I write are damaged, and so to dig through the layers of just the top layers, I really do like to peel back, like they say, the onion, peel back all of the layers of a person to get to know the seed inside of them and what's been hurt and what walls have been built around it to protect that hurt. I think that's what I get out of it. It makes me communicate with real people differently and see them differently and not make judgments so quickly.
How often do you write?
It really depends on how busy we are with production. It depends if I'm directing something. I directed 3 feature films in 3 years, starting in 2022, so there wasn't an incredible amount of writing during that time because I was the writer, director, and producer. So and then we were also doing film festivals and traveling around a lot during COVID.
Oh, wow.
It was really challenging. I now have, I'm in pre-production for 2 films, which we can talk about in a second. And then I have the goal to finish 4 screenplays by January 31st that I started about a year and a half ago. And those are in various forms of development. So writing a lot has been primary for me now, because I know once the new year hits, it's going to be a lot of on-set work or pre-production work, shooting the films, and so on in pre-production.
How do you keep yourself on track? It sounds like you have some very specific deadlines for yourself. Mm-hmm. And how do you become your own taskmaster?
I've always been very rigid with myself. I have pretty high expectations, probably too high expectations of what I would like to accomplish. And so when I set a date, I want to at least get somewhat close to it. And I don't like being willy-nilly. I think it's very easy for people to fall into a pattern of procrastination. And I get it. It's hard. It's really hard work, and you need a break. And sometimes you need to not look at something for a week or a month or whatever it is for you, but to always come back to it. And my producing partner, Brian Long, and I always joke, he says it's hard for him to take a break because he gets so accustomed to being peaceful and not thinking all the time about budgets and all the things that go into creating a film, that when after a week at, I don't know, the beach or something like that, having to go back and get back into it is almost worse. So if you stay in it, it's just easier because it's the routine. But I don't necessarily think that's very healthy. So I've been trying to manage doing healthier, fun things, taking a break here and there, going to a farmer's market, going for a hike up a mountain or something, going for, I don't know, Saratoga racetracks, which is, I love horses, doing fun things for ourselves, and then coming back to it.
And in some ways, that's almost another fun form of work because you could be getting ideas and you're getting exposed to new environments.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some of the best ideas that I've had come out of thin air. I wasn't expecting it. And then, so I have to leave myself open to those sources that I can't always control everything, even though I really want to. I can't control everything. And it's going to get done when it gets done. And that doesn't mean that I can just slack off. I have to continue to put in the effort. But if it doesn't get done on my deadline, that's okay.
Has anyone ever said to you, why don't you just take a break and relax?
All the time.
All the time, okay. What's your answer?
I don't have time to take a break.
Okay, oh, that's a good one, yeah, all right. Right, well, I know you, so go ahead, I'm sorry. Well, you've talked about some sacrifices that you've had to make as a filmmaker, as a writer. We'll talk about those later. But yeah, I was just curious, as someone that is very driven, do other people see you and maybe they have their own agenda? Maybe they're like, ooh, she's going to outwork me, or wow, you're working really hard, I'm worried about you, or whatever it is. And
yeah, I think there's two sets of people, or maybe even three sets of people. There are my close friends who are like, you need to come out to LA and, hang out with me and eat really bad food and cook and go for walks with my dog and, hang out and take a break. There are other people who see the hard work that you've done, and I don't like to be cruel and say ride your coattails, but they see that there's an opportunity there, and so they try to get in, even though I'm not like anywhere close to like really, I'm just me and I'm just working hard, but they kind of want a free ride, and that's not very cool. And then I have my, like I said, half my family lives in France, and I went to go visit them recently. And they were saying in French, all you do is work things on social media. They're Facebookers because they're a little older, and they're like, all you do is work, travail, travail, travail. And it's just like, je sais, I know, well, I'm gotta work, I gotta pay the bills. But it was nice to be there for 10 days, and they're like, you're too skinny. So they cook for me, and they take me to the zoo and just, I don't know, do all the things to help me chill.
But it also sounds like it's more than just money. This is what you've chosen your life to be. This is a lifestyle for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of it's about money. I got to pay my bills just like most people. But I could pay my bills a bunch of different ways, and I have in the past. And I know, I don't know why I know, but I know that this is my calling. And like you had said before, I've known from the time I was a little kid, I've never wavered from storytelling. I might have not known the medium in which to do it. I tried journalism, prose, theater, a lot of theater, and then film just fell into my lap. And I was like, wow, this is it.
Where do you usually write? Do you have a particular writing style, place?
I have an office in the Pocono Mountains, and it's a 1-acre property at the end of a cul-de-sac surrounded by trees. I can't see my neighbors except for in the winter time. So it's pretty secluded. 80-minute drive to New York City, which I have to also spend a lot of time there. But I have an office with a big, beautiful window overlooking the woods. And there are deer all over the place, and chipmunks, and birds, and all sorts of wildlife. And it's very conducive to creativity. And I have a huge bookshelf, and that's where I tend to write for the fall, the summer, and the spring. When January comes around, mostly January and February, I try to find a location where I can go off alone for 5 weeks and be really, really, really secluded. One of my most fantastic experiences doing that, Carson McCullers, who was a wonderful prose writer, short story writer, essay writer. She wrote many pieces. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter is one of her most famous ones. And she has 2 houses, one in Nyack, New York, and one in Columbus, North Carolina. And every year they give out a grant to someone to stay at her childhood home in North Carolina. And I got to stay there. And I didn't get the grant, but we became friends with the people who do the grants. And that was so wonderful just to be in this. It's now a history museum, and all of her young photos are everywhere upstairs and down. On the lower level was her old bedroom, and there's a fireplace, and there's a nice big desk and a nice big kitchen. So I could just write all day, take walks, cook, think, read, whatever I wanted to do without any of the pressures of life coming in.
Wow, so it's once a year they give out this grant?
It's once or twice. I forget what it is. But yeah, Carson McCullers. And we became friends with her after Karen Allen, who we collaborate with. She did a short film that was based off of Carson's short story, A Tree, a Rock, a Cloud. And that's how we came to know about Carson McCullers' estates.
And sorry, is it open at other times for the public to walk through? You said it's a museum at times? Oh, wow.
I don't know about her house. She grew up down in Columbus. She lived her more adult life in Nyack, New York. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a museum, but they do have dinner parties and different events in Nyack as well.
Wow, something about writers and old houses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
Our minds just go, yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it. Yeah, okay. Wow, I want to look that up. That's really cool.